Welcome to JustWannaQuilt, a research podcast coming out of Tulane University Law School, where we explore all kinds of things, stories about quilting, tools, field trips, maybe some famous quilters stop by, and, of course, a little bit of copyright thrown in just for fun. I'm Elizabeth Townsend-Guard, your host. I'm a law professor at Tulane University Law School. I also hold 2 fellowships right now, one at the Business School and one at the Newcomb Institute at Tulane. And I just want to quilt. All right, so today we have Stacy Sharmon of Hello Stitch, which is a sewing studio in California. In Northern California. We've had them on the show before, and we talked in the beginning of April about what was happening and how the studio was surviving and their mask making and other PPE making adventures. We also talk a little bit about a pattern that came out about how to make masks on the long arm. They didn't make that, but they had posted about it, and so I asked her about that as well. Okay, so hi. We're gonna. I know the answer to this, but we're gonna. Tell me your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Stacy Sharmon, and I'm in Berkeley, California.
And you're with
Hello Stitch Studio.
Hello Stitch Studio. So, so I asked to chat with you to sort of see how things are going. You, in Berkeley, you guys were close to the beginning of this stuff, right? You're a little bit ahead of New Orleans in terms of all the things happening. So how are you doing over there, and sort of what's happening, and what's happening at the studio? What's your life like right now?
Well, what is life like? I don't know. It's different. Days are definitely going by fast for some reason. You would think it would go by really slow, but
yeah, I agree.
I feel like I'm working even more than I did before. So working from home just means that I'm always working.
Yeah, it's true.
Taking days off.
Yeah.
So in that regards, it's a little crazy, but we're keeping really busy. The studio is completely shut. Of course.
In case people don't know, because you guys have been on the show before, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And so tell us about the studio so that people understand sort of what's happening and who you are.
Okay. So I'm one of the owners of Hello Stitch Studio. My other partners are Terry and Kristen. And we have 3 employees, and then we have just a much larger cast of teachers, and we're a sewing and quilting makerspace. So it's basically a makerspace with the soft fuzzies for people who are really into textiles, because we found other makerspaces were a lot more, pretty male dominated, but also
they're here too. I mean, they've got every tool. It's so funny. We have this makerspace downtown that I visited, and they had one sewing machine and no thread. Like, it was clear, like they had somebody told them to get a sewing machine. And so they got this jukey industrial machine and like literally not even thread. It was ridiculous, you know?
Yeah. So I feel like the makerspaces here do try to do a better job, but we're solely focused on sewing and all things sewing. So
very cool.
We have classes, we have a membership program, so people that are members can come in and sew with us anytime we're open, which is usually 6 days a week. But yeah, so right now the studio itself, the physical location, is totally shut down. We do also offer long arm services. So we have a long arm quilting machine, and we often do quilting services. And we also rent out time on that machine. We're still able, because it's only 3 of us, we just have like one person goes in. I wouldn't say we're even in there every day, but every other day or so, and somebody works on, because we have a line of customers who are waiting for their quilts to be finished. So we are kind of steadily working through that. So we're able to do a little bit of stuff. We have a small online store presence, so we're shipping out a couple of things every once in a while, but definitely that was not
and sort of
before this all happened. So we kind of were scrambling to get that up.
Yeah. And you're pretty new, you're a newish business, right? So how long have you been around?
We would be 3 years old,
3 years old.
basically right now.
Yeah.
I think April,
So
3 years
we
ago.
worry about places with being closed. So how are your members? Are your members still paying their subscription fee? Are you worried about like how's the financial side of it? And sort of how do we help businesses like yours during this crisis?
Well, the answer to all of those questions is yes. So
Yes.
we have very loyal members, and those that can afford to do so have continued with their memberships. I mean, we totally understand that there's so many people that are in even worse financial straits than we are. So if they have to cancel, then that's, of course, that's totally fine. But we asked our members if they could just to continue with the membership, which is helping at the moment to help sustain us and at least pay the rent in the meantime.
The rent, right? That's the key, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But most of our income really is probably from our classes, which we've had to completely shut down.
Yeah.
So for the classes, I think because we basically have a class at least every day, every other day that we're open. So we've had to cancel a ton of classes. And basically what we did was just send out a request to those whose classes were canceled if they would take their cancellation in the form of a studio credit as opposed to
so that would help you with that too.
A full refund. So that's really been helpful for people who are able to do that. And then some people have even donated that class costs back to the studio.
Oh.
And so with that, we're going to be able to pay our teachers who are, they're not employees of ours, so they can't even file for unemployment necessarily.
Right. Well, that's really nice. So. That's like, it's amazing what kind of community is happening at the moment,
Yeah. Yeah. So, and we're still trying to connect with our members. We've had a couple of virtual meetups. So just to see everybody's faces, because some of the people that are members of the studio come in almost, at least a couple times a week, sometimes even more. So we're used to seeing them pretty often, and they're used to seeing us. So they're stuck at home, and some of them have sewing setups at home, so they can still sew at home. But it's certainly, we've been hearing a lot how much they've missed coming to the studio, not just for the community, but also just for the big, large cutting tables and all that.
Yeah, right. Because they've kind of made their life around you.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, exactly. I get it. I have a co-working space I go to every afternoon by where my kid goes to school, and it's weird to suddenly not have that as part of your life, because it really is a routine, and kind of the rhythm of life has changed so much,
Yeah, it definitely has. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think that's why the days are so strange and fast. And I have right now, I'd have to think really hard what day of the week it is.
Yeah,
just
totally.
Like the fact that
it's true.
All schedules are out the window.
Right. It's so true. It's very strange, isn't it? Yeah. It feels like, at least for me, it feels like I just stop. Like, it's not like everything's done for the day. I just am like, okay, now I'm stopping and I'm going to go to sleep.
Well, that's good, because I feel like I just don't, I definitely don't stop thinking about what's going on and how I can help and everything. So
it's really interesting.
The fact that you can, I do try and sit down and just zone out, watch TV for a while, but definitely those 2 a.m. wake up in the middle of the night,
Yeah, I know. It's hard to sleep. It's very hard to sleep. I feel like I can push the worries away with work, and then I stop, and at night it's really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
anyway.
So that's where I am.
That's craziness. So how is California, and how is Berkeley, and sort of what's happening there? Because again, you're ahead of most of the country, I think, in terms of, you're a little ahead of us, and you're definitely ahead of most places.
Yeah, so we've been, I can't even remember when they officially shut everything down. It's definitely weird outside, just the fact that you want to say hi to people, but you almost feel like you shouldn't say hi to people.
Yeah.
So it's a little weird. Yeah. And I've kind of just been in this bubble of, being at home or being at the studio.
Now, Santa Clara County, which is where my family's from, they were really, they were getting hit pretty hard, and they did a lot of aggressive measures. How did Berkeley compare to Santa Clara and San Jose when that was happening?
I think maybe we're just a few days behind them as far as shutting everything down. It's
Yeah. And
it
the
is one of
students
those
all went
things like
home.
I'm gonna have to. Yeah, the kids have been out of school for at least 2 weeks now,
Yeah,
I
us too.
believe.
Us too.
Yeah. So officially, I have a 16-year-old, and right now he says he's on spring break, which is
Yes. Right.
exactly the same as last week, which was not spring break.
Right. Right.
But
It's weird, right?
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, teen life under quarantine is really interesting, at least in our house, because I have a 16-year-old as well. There's a lot of conversations way late in the middle of the night online with friends.
Really.
Yes.
I'm out of the loop there.
Yeah, there's a whole
I'm
other world
not in
happening
that.
in a really interesting
Yeah.
way. So, uh, yeah, it's very interesting.
Hmm.
Well, very interesting and very cool. Now, the other thing is that we had talked, like, I saw a video, and I know that you didn't make it, but you had posted about it, which was making these homemade masks on a long arm, which was Handy Quilter put that
Yeah.
out. And you're an Innova dealer, and we're a Grace dealer, so we're not. But I thought it was really. Have you tried it?
Oh yeah, that video that you saw, that was actually me. That was
Oh, that
me
was
doing
you.
it. I
Oh,
was just,
fabulous. Well, tell
yeah,
us.
yeah,
See,
yeah, yeah,
everything's all mixed up in my head at this point. There's just too much. I'm like, the
There's so
overload
much
is overwhelming at this
information.
point. So tell me
Yeah,
what your thoughts were on it.
yeah.
How was it? And like, should we? I'm thinking of trying it.
Okay. So the reason, I mean, like you're saying, there's so much information out there,
Yeah.
and the fact that we're a sewing and quilting studio, and we're pretty active in the community, there are a lot of people reaching out to us, like, are you doing this mask sewing? What's the thing about masks? Like, what should I sew? So there's a lot, because there's so much information, and
Yeah.
people do want to do it, but it can be so overwhelming.
Yeah.
So I just kind of compiled a list of different resources just to narrow it down. And I'd posted about that a week or two ago, I believe, and also found like a point person, because I feel like if everybody's sewing these masks, and like who knows who, we needed some sort of organization.
Yeah.
So I'm working with someone through the East Bay Heritage Quilt Guild, which is the big local quilt guild in our area. And so she's kind of organizing with East Bay Heritage quilters and also the institutions. So I don't have to do that. I'm just on the production side. And and also just kind of trying to help, get my tribe on board as well. So I put out a list of the mask sewing resources, and then I was also just checking in on Facebook every once in a while, and I saw on the Innova Facebook group that Handy Quilter had put out a digitized file, because we have a digitized long arm machine. It's computerized, that would sew out the face mask shape. So instead of you having to cut all the fabric first and then sew them all, each piece, you just put yardage on the machine, and it quilts. It quilts, but it's basically just sewing through 2 layers to make the shape. And then you take it off the machine, and you can cut out. Yesterday, how many did I cut out? Like 100 or something.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then there's still finishing that's left to do, which isn't nothing. It's still almost about the same amount of time, really. But what I was able to do then is just cut that up into kits, which we can then get out to other people to help finish.
That's cool. And then
spread the work out.
are they being pleated and adding ties?
Well, so
or elastic?
yeah, so exactly. What I'm working on right now is putting up videos that I made yesterday of different methods of sewing the mask together. So we have a bunch of twill tape that I was putting with the kits, but the twill tape, it actually takes 2 yards per mask, so that goes pretty fast.
Yeah.
And then, so one of the ways I was doing it was by pleating, but the way that I actually like the best, that a friend of mine just showed me yesterday, was putting twill tape through a channel and then gathering it, and it actually fits my face better. So it has like a tighter seal on the side for me when I tried it on. The gathered ones were better. So I'm going to put up a little video of how to do that. And the way that the file sews out, when it sews it, there is spaces for channels. So that's totally doable. But also, you could also poke, in those channels, you could poke elastic or whatever. So.
Right. And then are you adding the channel to, is it like a bias tape or something like that? Are you making a channel after you've sewn them on the long arm?
So when the long arm sews it out, it actually leaves space at the top and the bottom of the rectangle so that you could actually thread something through. So you don't have to, some of the other demonstrations of how to just, there's so many ways to do it, it's whatever really works best for you. But this one, the way that these are sewn out, that you could actually just thread through the twill tape. Once you've turned the fabric right side out and you have your finished rectangle, it actually has holes in the top and the bottom that you can thread the twill tape through.
You can thread them through.
Yeah.
And then gather it and you're done.
And you're done.
Oh my gosh.
Well, you have to sew around the outside edge.
That's really interesting.
Super
interesting. Interesting. And then are you securing the whatever you put in through when you stick it through so it doesn't fall out?
Mm-hmm. So once you've threaded the twill tape or the bias or whatever you have through the channels, and you've gathered it, then you sew all the way around the outside edges.
Oh, you gather it and then you sew around so it's secured. It's not. It doesn't. Okay,
right.
Interesting. Very interesting. Okay.
And it should be up on the Hello Stitch blog.
Yeah. No, it's super great. Okay, so if people are in your area and they're hearing this and they're like want to know, just go to Hello. Is it on your website? Is it at Hello Stitch?
HelloStitchStudio.com/blog.
HelloStitchStudio.com, and then find your blog and you'll find more information on it.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, okay. I know what I'm doing.
If people are in the area, they can also reach out.
They can reach out to you as well. Awesome.
If they're interested in sewing kits. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. And have you linked to that Handy Quilter document? Is that on your site as well?
I didn't even think to do that, but I can totally do that.
That would be super great.
Yeah, I could
so that
if
you're looking for it, I mean, it's going to be hard. People are going to be wanting to know how to do it. So go to Hello Stitch, and you have videos on how to do it, and hopefully the file itself. So and I looked at the file form. They have a lot of versions of it, so it should be good for most systems.
I think that they digitized it for everybody, not just for Handy.
Oh, I can't wait to do it. I have to do interviews for another hour and a half. I'm like, I need to cancel everything so I can go try it.
Well, the takeaway for me is just remember that it's when you're loading it on the long arm machine, you have to, because of the way that we load quilts on the long arm, you have to do it backwards. You have to do it right sides together.
Together.
That was
Yeah,
that was hard for me to think of at first because we're so used to doing it completely the opposite way.
Totally. Did you have to adjust the tension because there's no batting?
There is no batting, and I was a little worried about what the tension would look like, but I just pulled everything super tight, and it worked great.
Interesting. Okay, I can try. I can do that. I like that. Okay.
That worked on ours, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'll try it. Oh, how cool! And how much fabric did you load? Did you load like?
That I don't know because I'm basically working with donated fabrics right now, so I'm just sewing yards and yards together and then loading it and then.
Got it. So you're just putting it whatever's on there and then putting more on. So.
Exactly.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay, I so want to try this. This is like you've made my day. I have something new to try. Yes. So the long arm, making masks on the long arm. Can we do it? I think that's so cool. So cool.
And some people might be like, oh, that it actually takes longer than if I just sat down and did it. But like you're saying, it's kind of like a fun thing to try.
Yeah,
so it just makes it
right. And
the drudgery of sewing 5 million masks better.
Go. Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
You can do other things.
So you can have it working while you're finishing the other stuff.
Yes, exactly. Well, this is good. Okay. Well, so HelloStitchStudio.com. You have videos on this. You are posting other things. If you're in the Bay Area, the East Bay, and you want to get involved, also connect to them. And I'm just so cool. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. I know there's a lot going on, and I really appreciate the time.
Sure. The other thing that we do have on there is a resource for isolation gowns, which are like the surgical looking gowns that doctors wear. So some of the local area hospitals are trying right now. They have enough surgical gowns, but they're just trying to stockpile
I've heard about surgical
fabric
caps
gowns.
too. People are making surgical
Yeah,
caps.
yeah. But we also have a link to the isolation gown pattern.
Isolation gown patterns.
anyone-
Awesome. So that's super important too, and especially for those that are really good at sewing, to start working on that would be amazing.
You don't even have to be that good at sewing. It's a pretty basic pattern, and it would just get you started, you know.
That's very cool.
So,
well,
and they
when
probably
I
aren't
so
too
want to come
picky.
one day and just like come and spend time there, because it just sounds like I just want to spend time in your studio because it just sounds really fun.
It's really nice. We're very lucky to have it, so we're going to do our best to keep the doors open once we're allowed to open the doors
keep
again.
us posted and come back and talk to us if you want. We're around.
Great. All right. Well, take
All
care.
right. Are you okay with us posting this?
Of course.
Okay, cool. That's my copyright legal side that I would have to ask you at the end of the interview. Awesome. Well, thank you again for coming, and I will be trying your method and the video from Handy Quilter, and I know you're a Nova, and I just think it's super cool. So thank you again for coming and chatting.
All right.
All right. Take care.
Good luck. All
Bye.
right.
Stay
Thanks.
safe.
Bye.
You still there?
I am.
So you've been listening to Just Wanna Quilt, a research podcast coming out of Tulane University Law School. And I'm Elizabeth Townsend Gard. If you like this podcast, keep listening. Also, we have a Facebook group. Come join us. We talk about a lot of things. We also have an Instagram account. And of course, most importantly, I really hope you get a chance to quilt today.